Alright, thanks for joining me for our little animation tutorial. We are taking our ninja we made in class and then we are going to bring it from Adobe Illustrator into Adobe Animate. So just to get us started, and a reminder, we made this body segment here and we put it on its own layer and we grouped all of those elements together, and we did that with each of the limbs. And then each of those layers we also have named accordingly. So there's body, arm 1, arm 2, leg 1, leg 2, and so forth. So once you have that part done, or just double check that you have that part done, then we're going to select that there, Control C to copy, and then I'm going to minimize my Illustrator window and go to Adobe Animate and create new. Little new document window pops open, and I'll just select full HD 1920 by 1080, 30 frames per second is fine, and then click create. Alright, then it brings us here to our stage and our timeline. So this project will kind of divide into 4 parts. The first part is bringing in the elements of the illustration. The second part is animating the limbs. Then the third part is animating the hop in his step, and then the last one is moving from one end of the screen to the other. So that was copied, and now Control V to paste it in, and our paste window pops up here. We want to make sure that it says paste using AI file importer preferences, and apply recommended import settings to resolve incompatibilities and maintain layers. And we'll click OK. And you'll notice here it brings in each of those elements that was grouped together in its own layer into this file, and each one is represented down here in our timeline, and we have one, it's all named the same also. So leg 2 is still leg 2, and so forth. So we brought those in. Now is a good time to select that ninja we made and use our free transform tool. I'm going to resize. I'll make sure I hold down shift while I resize it so it stays nice and scaled. And then we need to turn each of these elements into a symbol. So we'll start with the body, and if we go over here to the properties panel on the right hand side, there's this little arrow pointing to the clover, or to the spades card symbol, and it says convert to symbol. So I'm going to click on that, and it opens up this convert to symbol window. And this one here was for the body, so I'll just name it the same that I had the layer so it makes sense to me later. I'll call it body. For the type, I want to make sure that it is a graphic, and then we'll click OK, and we have the first one done. Then moving right along, we'll go to the arm, and we'll do the same thing. Call it arm 1. Arm 2. Leg 1. And leg 2. Alright, once we have that done, we need to change the origin point of each of these elements. So for this, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit to make it easier, and I'll start with leg 2. I'll select leg 2, or sorry, here we go, leg 2, and using my free transform tool here, you'll see there's a little dot in the middle of the selection. I'm going to click and drag it, and I'm going to move that to like where I want this limb to be rotating around. So in this case, this would be like where the leg is attached to the body, so it's going to be swinging in an arc that way. And then I will do the same thing with the other limbs. All right. That looks pretty good. We don't have to worry about it for the body. It's fine where it is. And then before we get to the part where we start animating, we also want to make sure that we exaggerate like the furthest distance that these limbs are. So this arm up here is pretty good like that. I might move the back arm here a little bit. The back leg, I might move to there, and the front leg, give it a long stride. Okay, now we're ready to animate the limbs. So let's select these frames down at the bottom from 0 over to 40. I'm choosing 40 so I have an easy way to measure my animation into fourths. And then go over here to Auto Insert Keyframe. Once that's done, you can just right click in this shaded area, this blue shaded area, and select Create Motion Tween. Okay, drag the blue scrubber handle all the way to the far left, and this represents the first point of the animation. And we'll start with leg 2 and drag the scrubber handle here to the 10 position, and make sure this little rectangle here is selected right there underneath it also. And in here you can then click and drag this limb to where you want it to be, and then when you drag the scrubber handle there, you can see that motion. Now once we have that done, then I'm going to select this very first frame and right click on it and select Copy Properties, and then go to 20 and right click and paste properties. Then I'm going to copy the one from 10 and copy properties, and then go to 30 and paste properties, and then copy the one from 20, copy properties, and on this one I'm going to select the one right before the end and paste properties. And now I can check to make sure the animation works, and I can also use Control Enter to show the animation in a forever loop there. So that looks pretty good. So I can close out of that, and I'm done with the first leg. So now I'm going to do that same process with the second leg. Now that I have the legs animated, I'm going to do the same thing with the arms, but I'm going to have them move at a different pace than the legs, just to add some variety to the animation. So going down here to the arm, and this will be arm 2 on mine, but you can select either one on yours, and go to the 20 position. Maybe move the arm down to about there, and then I can copy the properties from the first frame and paste it here. And then I'll do the same thing with this one down here. Alright, let's see how this looks. Alright, so we have movement of all the limbs, and now we're ready to start making our ninja move up and down while striding. When you're ready to have your ninja bound while running, then we need to select each of these layers and right click and go find Convert Layers to Symbol. Once you do that, this little window is going to come up here, and I'll call this one Ninja Hop, and this one does need to be on movie clip. Then we'll click OK. You'll see it combines all these into one layer now. So if you need to make any changes, you would need to undo and go back to that point. Another thing to be aware of is when you push play, you don't see the animation because this is a new object, but if you use that Control Enter shortcut, you still have the original animation that is playing in there. So just don't freak out if it's not showing the animations when you use the play button here. Alright, so same thing is going to happen. We are going to select this timeline here and create a motion tween just like we had before. And this time, like thinking how fast the legs moved, we'll be making an adjustment every 10 frames on here. So make sure you have your transform tool. I'm on the first frame here and he's in wide stride. So I'm going to select him and I'm just going to use up on my keyboard and maybe press the up button like 20 times. Just pay attention to how many times you press the up button because you'll want to be consistent with that. So I decided 25. Alright, so 25 is right there. Then I'm going to go over here to the 10-second or to the 10th frame, and then I'm going to press down 25 times. Alright, and then just like we did before, I will copy the properties and paste the properties here. Then I'll copy the properties from 10 and paste the properties at 30. And then I can copy the properties here. And I will paste the properties here at the very end. Alright, now if I press Control Enter to preview this, we can see our ninja hopping up and down while running. Now for part 4. We'll right click our ninja hop layer down here and go select convert layers to symbol again. And this time I will call this one ninja moving. And this one will also be a movie clip. Then we'll click OK. Once again, we will select this range of frames and right click and go select create motion tween. Real repetitive with this, so you've probably already figured out what we're going to be doing at this point. So just to give me some room here, I'm going to zoom out a little bit and using my free transform tool, and then I'm going to click and drag this to the far right, and this is where the first frame is going to be. And then what I can do is I could go to the 40 frame here and then click and drag, keep it in that straight line. And you can see where it shows that distance there, and here's that. So if I push play here, I can see how that ninja is running across. That might be a little bit fast. So what I can do is I can select this frame down here, and if I move my cursor just to the border of that, I get that double-sided arrow. I might just bring this over to about 4 seconds. And that's going to slow the time it takes the ninja to go from point A to point B. So I'll push play here. And I think that's going to be a little bit better. So to preview that, we'll use Control Enter. And there we go. Once you're ready to save this or share it with your friends, obviously first save it as an Adobe Animate file, with File Save As. And then if you go to File, Export, and export for video/media, then you can choose the dimensions of your video, you can choose the video format, all that kind of thing, choose where you want it to be sent to, and then you have a video file that can be publish to social media or online or to your web page, any of those things. I'm excited to see what you all come up with. I hope you put your own kind of personality with your animation or put your own spin on it, and excited to see the creativity you're all able to display with this. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and we will hopefully catch you on another tutorial video.